You have people that need to see it, people that need to hear it, and people that need to do it. And so if you can incorporate all three of those in your training,
Right.
you're going to touch on all learning styles.
Welcome to the Mindcoach System audio experience. Learn this simple and effective process to unlock your peak potential in life and business.
Welcome to Leadership Unlocked, the podcast. I got my man Adam here, Adam Kripke, and this is Dave Loshelder. We are going to be talking about leadership today. We have a few questions from a few people, and we want to just kind of talk about that and answer the questions. So, hey, what's up, Adam? What's going on?
What's happening? I'm excited. This is the first time we've done this, so this is exciting.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool because it's, we got the questions coming in and, kind of seeing what people are interested in. So I'm curious to hear what they have to say, and we'll answer the best we can. How about that?
That's
and
good.
So let's get to it. Let's get these questions on there because I want to hear what the audience has to say. So, all right. So we got John from Dallas, Texas. Hey, John. What's up, John? John asks, how do you delegate responsibilities to your team?
The most important thing, I think, before you delegate is understanding who is on your team and what they excel at. So understanding their personality style and what benefits and what strengths and weaknesses, I guess, each individual has, because certain tasks are going to be better for certain individuals. People that have a high tendency for detail are going to be better for a task that requires maybe a lot more research, for example, right? Or something that requires less detail, more sales oriented, getting stuff done. They're going to be looking for somebody that's less detail oriented, but more of a go-getter, self-starter, that type of thing. So, first question is, do you understand your team? Who do you have on there, and what do they excel at? Would you agree with that, Dave?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actually, I had a personal experience with that because I had one of my team members. I was doing a lot of the data entry years back, and there was a lot of detail orientation. And, I'm a kind of guy, I wanted to go to the meetings and just kind of talk to people. And so I kind of gave up that responsibility to one of my team members. And to my chagrin, not even us chagrin, to my delight, she loved it. And I was like, why would you like this job? But she really liked to get into the nitty gritty of everything. And that was kind of her style. And actually, I gave her an additional responsibility and made her job better, which you wouldn't imagine to be the truth, but that's kind of what happened. So yeah, I totally agree, man. I totally agree.
What's the next question? What else we got here?
All right, we got this is cool. Check this out. Ingrid from, let me see if I get this right, Wurzburg, Germany. Ingrid. Okay, well, welcome, Ingrid. Thanks for calling in and asking the question. All right, so she asks, how have you rallied your team in the past in difficult projects or tasks?
Ingrid, great question. So you're talking about influence at this point, which is the core skill set that leaders need to have. How do you influence people is the question you need to ask yourself. How do you influence people? And it depends on the people, depends on the situation that you're in. And when you add those two together and you apply a particular leadership style, you can affect some influence. I heard a great story, a metaphor the other day is, when you're trying to influence somebody, it's almost like you're looking at their house, you're standing outside their house, and their lights are off in their house, and you want to get those lights on. How do you get those lights on in their house? When you're standing outside, the doors are locked. They're not looking to change. The truth is, you start by finding common ground, finding a place where you can connect with that individual. And you might need to start with the behavioral adaptability with that individual to be able to know what their personality type is and be able to communicate to that personality type. Once you get on that common ground and you want to switch on those metaphorical lights in their house, unfortunately, you can't switch that switch on. They have to do it. So it has to come from a place of them understanding the common vision, them understanding what the goals are and agreeing with the goals. you being able to communicate those in a very clear and effective manner. And if you can effectively communicate those things, get them on your side, find that common ground, they're going to be able to turn that around and motivate and get going in the same direction that you want them to go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let me add to that, dude, because I think that's a really good point. I think also to get your team rallied around a specific project as a leader, to be able or to really find the obstacles and remove them for the team. If you can remove obstacles and give them the tools and answers to get that job done, I think that also can help as well, because then they also know that you're on their team. Like you're willing to do that for them, and you're supporting them through the project. And so that kind of takes away a little bit. It's like a kid. You tell your kid to clean up his room, but if you start to help the kid clean up his room, that's a lot better than them just saying, "Get in there and clean that room up." They feel supported, and then they're more motivated. So part of that too is kind of knowing that you're bought in to the project, and you're bought in and supporting them through the easy and hard times. So excellent,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, and understanding, like to Dave's point, I would agree with that, is understanding where the barriers are, because the barriers might be the task. The task might be ultra difficult. They might not have a clear vision. They might have the wrong mindset. So you first need to be aware of what might be going on and hindering that that motivational component. There's a great tool that we give out in our trainings, and we call it Tools Training People. And so you can go through this process to understand in general manner, where is the breakdown? So do they have the right tools to accomplish this mission that you're sending them on? Do they have a broom to clean the floor? Do they have a register to ring up a sale? Do they have the tools needed to make it happen? Secondly, have you trained them on how to use those tools? So if you're asking them to do some particular sales skill for you, or going out and doing those things, do they have the tools, and have you trained them on those tools? If you haven't given them the tools, or you haven't given them the training, you can stop there and make sure that those are introduced. Lastly, if they have the tools and they have the training, then you go to the person. And that could be a mindset thing, that could be an ability thing. And knowing where that breakdown is and that barrier allows you to correct that action and make the right decision from that point moving forward.
Yeah, on the person side of it, we talk about like skill or will. Is it the skills or is it the will? Do they need to learn something, or do they need to be motivated? And so, or find that motivation. So yeah, absolutely, man. That's great question. So thanks, Ingrid. Appreciate it.
Yeah, long answer to a small question, but that is really the key to leadership right there.
100%, man. Yeah, totally agree. All right, let's move on. We got another question from Cindy from St. Louis, Missouri, one of my favorite places to visit. Hey, Cindy, what's going on? Okay, Cindy, what did she ask? She asked, how would you go about developing your team?
So I think we would need to know a little bit more to answer this question completely, but let's just assume that Cindy is heading up a team of individuals. We're not looking at an entire company here. It's a little bit different when you're having to deal with the company top down, like developing everyone in your company versus just a small team. So going about a small team, right? It all starts with a combined vision and understanding the vision of your company, the goals of your company, where the company is headed. Because from that point, once you have that stuff really clear, you can identify what training needs to be done in developing those people. That it's in line with your culture, that's in line with your goals, that's in line with where your company is headed. If you don't want to be training people up on things that are irrelevant to where the company is pointed. So that's the first point of contact, is understanding where is the company pointed at. And that will help you to design a development program to implement. speaking in generalities, when we talk about people, the biggest problem in developing your people is communication and poor communication. So communication skills are critical to allow your team to interact better with customers, clients, executive team, their teammates. So first thing I would do is start working and elaborating upon and getting them the core skills necessary to understand basic communication, how to influence other people, how to talk with other people, how to interact with a team. That would be first and foremost on my list, and then you could take it into more advanced skills from there.
Yeah, let me jump in here, man, because you make some really good points. I think the one thing that most people think about when they think about developing a team is training courses, software workshops, mentoring, coaching. But what you're saying is you're like, look, you can have all that, but if you're running, west, looking for, or we're running east looking for a sunset, right? You're not going to see it. So you can train somebody on the wrong thing. I think also the time and attention to, like, how much time do they need, and how much attention do they need, and what type of training do they need? What type of learning style do they have? We talked about personality styles all the time, but people have learning styles. So if you're giving somebody a manual and they learn by doing, then it's going to take a little bit longer. Do you need them to do different things to learn what you need them to learn? So I guess, like, to your point, like, knowing the person, knowing the team, what type of people are in there, what type of learners are in there, and then how can you match that up? Because that's really the secret sauce. You can accelerate training if you train it in the right way based upon how they learn. And by knowing that is pretty powerful. So yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it seems like a pretty simple question, but when you really get into it, there's just a lot more thought that could go into this, and a lot more strategy in terms of helping someone learn something more efficiently.
Yeah, and just to hit on that, and this is taking this a little bit of a different direction, but you have people that need to see it, people that need to hear it, and people that need to do it. And so if you can incorporate all three of those in your training,
right,
you're going to touch on all learning styles. So when I was in the franchise world, what we would do is have someone read what they needed to do, right? I would go and train them on what they need. So they'd be hearing it from me, and I'd be demonstrating at the same time so they would see it. And then you have the doing, where they're going and practicing afterwards as well. So they're touching it, they're seeing it, they're hearing it, they're hitting all 3 points. And then at the end, you go back in and recertify them on that training to make sure that they've absorbed it. So,
yeah,
that would be another thing to think about, is like, does your training or whatever you're doing in the development world, if you're strictly doing classroom style, speaking at them, and there's no other tools involved, they're really not going to, a portion of the people you're training are not going to be absorbing that information as well as they need to, right? They're going to be, maybe a different learning style, or a different learning style that you can incorporate to allow them to learn better, faster.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Adam. This was great. I think we had some really great questions today. And if you guys want to, as always, subscribe, crush that or smash that like button, and comment below. Give us your comments. We do read them. So it really, and then we will respond to them. So yeah, so this is Leadership Unlocked, and we are going to sign out. We'll see you next week.